silent revolution happening in my heart, happening in my soul. Whoa, it's a silent revolution happening in my heart, happening in my soul. It's a silent revolution happening in my heart, happening in my soul. Whoa, it's a silent revolution happening in my heart, happening in my soul. Whoa.
Ladies and gents, girls and boys, bassers and basserinas, thank you very much for joining me for another Bass Japan Direct Naked Sound Review. My name's Danny Stewart, and today I've got this really strange and unusual looking little bass, which is a short scale for you. This is Funky Junk number 74. If you're not familiar with Funky Junk, what I do is I get old Japanese bass guitars that have seen better days or have been neglected, or projects that were unfinished or something, and then I do something with them. I try to make them, I try to give them a new lease of life. So this one caught my eye because it was actually a modification of a Fernandes FAB 170 from, I think, probably 1980 or 1981, and the modification was actually done by a professional shop, so the paint job is really good. But over the years, what happened is some of the holes that they filled in actually over the years, there's a little bit of swelling of the filling, and you can see it just vaguely in the paintwork. It's nothing major though. But other than that, though, they've done a really good job on the paintwork. So I thought, to hell with it, I'll keep the paintwork. I won't bother redoing it. But what it had on the headstock, you can see it from the rear here, they had modified it to be like an 8-string bass. So they had the they had the octave strings at one point, and then they changed it back to normal. So there are holes that were filled in, and those were showing through pretty badly on the front here. So what I did was I veneered it with this beautiful rosewood, and I put in my little logo. It's all hand painted, by the way. That is, I do everything entirely by hand. I don't have very many tools or anything here at my little workshop. It's just a tiny workshop that I run out of my residence. And then I also put on this. It's not a truss cover, actually. It's just a feature, because what I wanted to do was, it had Bartolini pickups but no circuitry installed. So luckily the pickups were good, but what I wanted to do was make it kind of look a little bit fancy, like an old, I don't know if you've ever seen them in Britain, the old JD basses. They have nice fancy pickups and lovely woodwork. So I wanted to kind of go for something that looks a little bit like that, and have matching flame maple accents and stuff like that. And then yeah, I made a rosewood ramp here to sort of match the fretboard, and then on the back the rear cavity's flame maple covered, and the the battery compartment is rosewood. So it's got number 74 in the center there. And that's magnetic, by the way, the battery cover. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough room to make this cover magnetic because the what do you call it? The kind of shelf that it sits on is too thin. It's way too thin to do that. So, because this body is largely chambered, yeah, that shelf was too thin to install magnets. So that's just got gold screws to match the gold hardware. But yeah, I'm really pleased with the way the bass sounds. Like you heard it in the beginning there on that little track of mine, which is called Silent Revolution. It's probably a title that's been done somewhere before, but I don't know, it's just a little thing I came up with this morning to demonstrate this bass. But those are the chords. And as you can hear, it's got that lovely crisp clarity. It sounds much like an alembic, especially balanced in slap mode. You get that kind of Mark King sort of sound as well. Mark King was played JD, I believe, actually, that I was mentioning earlier. That's full coils. Single coils. Full coils but parallel mode. So it's nice, isn't it? Yeah, so you can hear clearly the difference between full coils in series and full coils in parallel. Yeah, and single. So, and you know, this is with the mid at notch, by the way, and the bass and treble boosted. Because if you have the mid up, I think it's a little bit too mealy for that style of playing. I don't know though, that's not bad. It's just a little bit too boomy. It doesn't. It's not going to cut through the mix as well. But on the rear pickup, conversely, you definitely want those mids, and you definitely want this mid switch to be engaged. The controls are very complex, by the way. You've got balancer, volume, mid switch, front pickup, a three-way coil tap, so that does your both these coil taps, and this is the rear pickup coil tap. Basically, the up position here is, or if you're looking down at it, the left position is full coils in series mode, middle position is single coil, and the rear position, or the right position, is that is full coils but in parallel. So it's a bit brighter than, it's a bit brighter and thinner than when you're in full coil series, which is the big fat sound. And the preamp in this, by the way, is a Bartolini, I think it's the NTMB preamp, 3-band, if I remember rightly. I'm sorry, I installed this a few days ago, and I also installed another XTCT, and now I think this is NTMB though, which I actually prefer to the XTCT. It's a little bit more, it's got a little bit more ballsy. So, and then you got your treble, so bass, mid, treble, and all of them have notch. So notch, boost, and cut. So it's very, very versatile indeed, an extremely versatile circuit. Yeah, if we go on the front pickup, so this is just with the bass and mid boosted. Big sound, big fluffy, deep, and then that's with the mid switch on. With the mid switch off, and then oh, sorry, that was yeah, that was single coil, and then full coils in series mode. Yep. So you know, you get the idea, and then full coils in parallel mode. Whoops, forgot my own bass line there. Never mind. Let's go with the treble up, everything dialed up in series. You already heard this actually in the beginning, so I don't really need to go over this again. But essentially, I mean the sounds. Let's go on the rear now. Essentially, the sounds that you get are just. So that's full coil series with the mid switch on, and this is single coils. And then full coils but in parallel. You get the idea. So and then if you add more treble, harmonics are nice on this. Yep, very nice. So I mean, it's just extremely versatile. It's got an awesome slap tone, a wicked rear pickup tone, and you know, a big fat front pickup sound as well. The pickups are excellent, the Bartolini's, and the preamp is also excellent. It doesn't have a passive mode, so to speak. It's entirely active. I didn't throw in a passive switch. If somebody wanted to have a bypass switch, it could be installed, but then you'd have I'd either have to swap that around on the volume pot and have a push-pull switch, or install another switch. I think it's too messy to install another switch, but there is room if somebody would request that. But this bass is going to be listing, well, actually at the time this video is published, it will already be listed, but it will be listing at usually, like, if you get one of these alembic basses, these alembic copies from Fernandes, and it's all original, they usually go for about $2,000, something like that. But this, considering it was modified and it's not all original, and just taking my labor into account and stuff, I'm probably going to be looking at about 1,200 for it, roughly that. We'll see. It also depends on the fluctuation of the dollar against the yen. But basically, yeah, I want to be making 150,000, 160,000 Japanese yen on this considering what I paid for the parts and the materials and whatnot, and the labor that's been put in. So there you go, guys. That is Funky Junk number 74, which is a modified Fernandes, what do they call it again? FAB, FAB, Fernandes Alembic bass, that stood for, by the way. FAB 170 from probably around 1980. And as usual, thanks very much for partaking and watching. If you do find my YouTube videos to be useful, informative in any way, or you like them, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And if you're interested in my music, I have a lot of original music with barely any listeners, because I haven't promoted it very actively. But if you fancy taking a listen, I've got a lot of tracks out on Spotify and all of the streaming platforms under my artist name, Danny M. Stewart. And I also have music out with a band called The Trivergence. Sorry, not The Trivergence, but just Trivergence. Yeah, that's an interesting band musically as well, if you would be so inclined. I will leave links in the description to those, and also video cards that link directly to those, as well as to this bass as well, so you can just buy it outright on Shopify if you want to, if you're that way inclined. It's also going to be listing on Reverb and eBay as well, if you prefer those platforms. And also, if you prefer to buy direct, not using any kind of platform, but you can trust me enough to pay me directly using something like Wise or PayPal, which is not really anywhere near as good, but if you do, you can get about 4% off of the price, the list price on Shopify, because of course we'll eliminate the Shopify fees. Alright guys, that'll do it. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Take care.